Welcome to the Marcus Mcintosh YouTube show. We are here at Smash Park in West Des Moines with my guests. We have Ryan Moon from the Urbanville Chamber of Commerce, Brandon Honeyman from Honeyman Promotions, Marwan the trainer, his fighter, Lenoris Wilson, and Jason and Joe from the Bamboozlers. First of all, thank you all for coming in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I'm going to start with Brandon Honeyman. Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Brandon Honeyman. I started training mixed martial arts September of 16. Started a company called Honeyman Promotions, and what I did was when I was training, I had fighters that I was working with bring me contracts, and I saw kind of what what there was in Iowa, what there was across the country for mixed martial artists. You know, when they're a professional, they have the contracts, they have an agent. So I was looking at the contract and I saw a lot of flaws. There was a lot of percentages that, of the sponsorships that were being given. There was a lot of the fight purses that were given, and, it didn't seem right to me. So I went ahead, I started my own business, started within my own team there at Elite Edge up in Ankeny, worked with a couple fighters, and then my whole goal was to be a fighter first manager and agent. So I didn't take the fight percent, still don't take the fight percentages. I get sponsorship percentages based on what I get my fighter. If the fighter gets it himself, I don't take a cut of that. That's his work, that's his doing. So truly took a fighter first approach. I've got two professional fighters I work with. One's in Cedar Rapids, one is fairly local here, but they're both, one's had his pro debut for Bellator a few weeks back, and then we've got another guy that had the opportunity to be with Bellator, but the timing didn't work out, so I'm sure that there will be another opportunity here in the near future for him. So
the manager like you, no doubt.
But yeah.
Lenoris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Lenoris.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
It was moving this way.
Yeah, all right. I met Marwan literally 3 months ago. 3 months ago, one of his other fighters, I work at Title Boxing, West Des Moines. One of his fighters came in and I started yelling out combos, and I saw him hitting the bag, and I was like, all right. So I went over to him and I just started yelling out more combos, and he was the only one getting them. And the class stopped, and I was like, where you train at? I knew he was a fighter. You just have that, you can tell. And then his name was Manny, and he was like, oh, I train out of the dungeon, the VIP boxing. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'm interested. And he was like, all right, his name's Marwan. And I found him on Instagram, and being from Florida, I'm used to being seeing boxing and gyms everywhere. And then for me, it's kind of hard because it's not a lot of people who look like me who are training people outside of a gym. So when I saw him on Instagram, I was like, where is this at? how can I be a part of this? And he was just like, oh, yeah, let's link up. Here's my information. I trained down in the dungeon in the basement, and I was like, bet. I trade in the garage, so I get that. And so, so I met up with him, and I started training with him. And he just, when you feel you have something inside you, but then somebody else sees and feels that same thing, that's what it was. So I stayed with him. And I really wanted to fight. It's therapeutic to me. Even if it's sparring, if it's street fight.
Which we don't
encourage that.
We
don't but it's just it's therapeutic because it's a science and it's an art to it. And I found somebody who also saw the art and the science to it, and it's just we could talk about old school boxing, and I just felt a part. When I first came in to the dungeon, it was just it was as if I just met some people that I had actually known in a past life or something, even Manny, and it was just a serious connection. And so he feeds off of my strengths, and then he makes me work on my weaknesses. Everybody hates working on weaknesses, but he makes you work on it, and it's just it pushes you to be better. And that's one thing that has been driving me to keep pushing with him. So,
now, Marwan, after everything Lenoris has said about you, is there anything you can add? besides you being a trainer and
Absolutely,
ready?
absolutely. So when Lenore's, I saw he hit me on Instagram, and I saw his work on Instagram. I'm like, okay. I was like, we got, he has some skill. I'm like, man, if I can just put my own little spin on it, my own little flavor and swag, this guy, he gonna win Golden Gloves. You know what I'm saying? So I had him come in the dungeon, and when I first met him, it just was like instant connection, And I said, he was a little bit standoffish because he was like, all right, what's up with Des Moines, Iowa? We know not no real fighters come out Des Moines, Iowa, and stuff like that. So I show him a little bit, he was like, okay, let me see what coach got, so I show him a little bit. He's seen, hey, this guy's, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about. And from there, he just, he listened to everything I said, even work on weaknesses and everything like that. And the guy has heart. So I took him right now for his 3 fights. He's 3-0. And just with us working together for 3 months, I mean, he followed the game plan. He's listened, and I can't stress how important it is to, as a coach, to have a fighter that's not only loyal, but that trusts you to be in their corner. And he performed on, last week we had the Golden Gloves. The first fight, he was outweighed. I mean, the guy was hitting with good shots. His mouthpiece kept falling out, A couple of days before that, his father had a stroke. So we were dealing with so much emotion and turmoil going into his Golden Gloves. The night of Golden Glove boxing, on the last fight of the night, his opponent weighed 285. His opponent kind of pushed him. His knee buckled. His knee came out in the first round. The physician came over and asked me, did I want to stop it? I know his heart already, so I said, no, we're not going to stop it. We're still going to win this Golden Glove championship.
But should he have been fighting somebody who weighed 285?
Well, he's 225. So
okay, those are all heavyweights?
It's all heavyweights, super heavyweight USA boxing. Yeah.
I knew what I signed up for.
Yeah, you know what I signed up for. So, I mean, the guy's heart, and we made a promise. We say down the dungeon, we're old school. So we say, you know what, I hate for it to sound mean or anything like that, but I call it a savage boxing, and we kill, be killed. Our mentality, we come to fight. So we're going to fight you. So that's what I can say for this brother right here, man. Look out for him. His name's Norris Wilson with Coach Marwan. This guy's going to be a world champion, I promise you that.
All right, we can't wait to see him develop. Ryan Moon, Urbandale Chamber, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm not a fighter. Say I'm a lover. I've been in like one fight in my life. I'm not a champion. But I work at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. So what that means is there's multiple chambers around the metro. We're part of it. We're the second largest chamber in the Des Moines metro of about 750 members. My job is membership director, and I also run our young professional program. So membership director, what that means is I go out and I recruit businesses to join the chamber, talk about what they can benefit, make sure that all members know their benefits, and they're really leveraging that. Smash Park is a current member of the Urbandale Chamber, so the myth you hear a lot is, well, we're not located in Urbandale, so we can't be members. That's not true. Our membership reaches out all across the Midwest, actually. We have people in South Dakota, we have people in Wisconsin, so I absolutely love my job. We talk about passion for fighting. I get to listen to these passions all day, every day. When I sit down with people who have businesses in their basement. I've met with so many business owners, and you put all your life savings, you put everything into it, and it's my privilege to help strategize and consult ways to really leverage that and get the best out of it. And I also obviously speak with larger companies who work on talent. You get people to come to Des Moines from Florida or whatever it is, and it's not as bad as you think, right?
As long as it's not winter time, right?
Right, there you go. Did you move up here in winter?
Yeah.
Oh, this winter?
No.
Okay, this is worse.
2017.
Welcome. So yeah, I'm happy to hear when young people move back or move up here. But yeah, that's pretty much my job. It's reaching out to the business community and young professionals.
All right, Jason and Joe with the Bamboozlers. Who will be playing here at Smash Park Friday, April 12th. Tell us a little bit about the Bamboozlers.
Yeah, well, our band's kind of gone through a few iterations, but this latest one is we're about 6 years in or so, and we like to travel around and play. We do a mix of covers and originals. We just put out a new record in July called "The Other Side of the Island," and we travel around and we're playing, like, for example, we're playing a festival next the end of this month in Florida on the beach in Panama City. You know,
Okay.
which,
You need a roadie?
yeah, maybe I
can check a mic like
I'm
anybody.
looking, you know.
Sibilance.
There you go.
That works.
So, so we're based in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, and you know we play a mix of kind of trop rock tunes and classic rock stuff, and then work on originals. And then it's a 6-piece band. A lot of guitars in the band. You know, 3 guitar players up front, some keyboards and drums and vocals. And Joe here plays drums. And
Now,
I
Joe,
play guitar.
You guys are a mix. You do a mix of covers and originals. How would you describe your style?
We love that question.
Or your
'cause,
genre.
yeah, we think that's what sets us apart because we like so many different kinds of music. And so we'll play country. We'll play like something new off the radio. We don't just play reggae. We like old school reggae, like Black Uhuru, you know, like solid older stuff. But steel pulse style kind of reggae. And so no matter what kind of music it is, we hit it and we hit it hard. But you know, one thing that's kind of in our back pocket, we like Jimmy Buffett music, like songs about the beach and partying and going on vacation and never coming home. We're going to play a whole Buffett album, front to back, here at this show in Florida at the end of the month. You know, kind of pay tribute to the guy who started the whole trop rock phenomenon.
Okay. I'm gonna throw this question out for whoever wants to answer it. Everyone can take a shot at it. I know you guys kind of talked a little bit about yourselves and what you do, but how did you get started doing what you do?
Okay. Well, I got started. I mean, because we're not full-time musicians.
Okay.
So my regular gig is that I am an editor for a guitar magazine. So during the day, I interview famous guitar players, distill their secrets, write them up, and kind of distribute them to the masses, along with editing lessons and reviewing gear and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of path for me started when I was 12 or 13 and learning Nevermind or Green Day, power chords on that. And then, if you're going to play guitar, you got to play in a band, And so when I'm from Iowa, and then I moved to Connecticut, and then I moved back to Iowa because Joe here, at the time, was working at the guitar magazine, and he hired me to come and do that stuff. So that's how we met. And then soon after, he's like, "Why don't you join my band?" I said, "Okay, I need a band to play in." And that's kind of how that started.
Yeah, like Jason said, a lot of musicians always have a band or two on the side, and I've always been in garage bands as a drummer. I even did the school band thing all the way through college. I was in the marching band, the whole deal, and just having a band on the side is such a cool way to, you have something to say. Yeah, you keep your chops up musically. I'd love to see bands on the weekend, but I'd rather be up on the bandstand. So when you find the right people, you guys were talking about your connection. It's like we have that musically. It's a neat thing to be in a band and to take on a crowd and have a fun night.
I mean, would you rather go see a fight or be in there?
Seeing a fight's annoying. Like, why are you doing that? Stop it. Like, I got into fighting. I was getting bullied as a kid because I had a stuttering problem. And, so I'm on the black side of town in Tallahassee, Florida. We have to go to Sylvan, which is on the white side of town. And so when I would go over there, I had learned speak from a lady named Miss Deb Rice. And I had to go back home, and I would talk to kids in the street, and they'd be like, "Why are you speaking like that? How am I speaking?" Yeah, and so I popped off real quick. And so one day I was at school, and I was getting bullied, and the kid pushed me, and I just knocked him out. So, I was like, all right, because my sisters are roughneck. Both of my older sisters, I have 2 older sisters. I don't have any brothers. They taught me how to fight from the jump. And so then my grandpa thought I was the bullier. So he took me to a boxing gym, and I was 7 or 8. And I got my butt kicked by this, I don't remember his name, but this kid, he was just kicking my butt, and my grandpa was like, "You gotta do something, boy. Tell me what to do." And so, towards the end of the round, the kid realized he was just working me, so I just saw that, and I saw he backed off, and I hit him with the overhand right. This is the time I was orthodox, which I'm no longer. And I hit him with the overhand right and just dropped. That was the only actually punch I landed on him. And And ever since then, I was like, man, I love this.
And he can still hit with two hands. So just because he said he's unorthodox, he can still hit with both, fighting both stances. So,
What got you started, Marwan?
Goku. A man named Goku, who was my inspiration from Dragon Ball Z. I'm playing. No,
I was about to say Goku.
no, most of those probably know these guys know Dragon Ball Z. No,
I guess I'm too old.
In all seriousness, my dad did for the most part. He used to work for a KC radio station, and they had what's called a West Side Boxing, and we were young, and that was on 6th Avenue in Des Moines. And we pretty much, my mom said I've been boxing ever since I was in the belly, so we used to walk by the boxing gym as a kid, and we used to have to go and spar and fight and everything. So I've been in this game for a very long time, so about 4 years, since I was about 4.
Ryan, what got you started with Chambers? What you do?
Yeah, so my original path was politics. I studied political science in college, worked at the Iowa State House, even moved to DC for a couple years. I realized how great and cheap Des Moines is, so I came back. But as everyone knows, the political arena is nasty, it's disgusting, it's horrible. So I looked online for other jobs outside of that and saw the chamber. First time I read it, I'm like, I don't know what a chamber is or what it does, but sure, I'll throw in my resume. Started doing my research before the interview, really looked into it, talked to a lot of people, and realized like, oh my gosh, they do a lot. So that's when I realized my passion. It's always been about helping people. That's where it is. Politics, I just wanted to help people, wanted to give them the resources they need, and the chamber was a perfect fit for that. So I've been here for about 2 years now, and I love doing it. So the passion's a bit different than hitting people, but it sounds a lot more fun.
Brandon, you mentioned you got started with Honeyman Promotions because you wanted to see fighters get a fair shake with their contract. What about that was a driving force? What made you want to be involved in and help fighters in that way?
So it was kind of funny when you were explaining the therapeutic side. I didn't wrestle in high school. I didn't do any mixed martial. I was a show choir kid. I did baseball. I mean, you would have never guessed that I would be in the realm that I'm in. But I always had the business acumen. I started businesses when I was in college, all the way through. So I've had a handful of different ventures I've been a part of myself, and that I still have today. So for me, it was the same thing. I started training for my brother. I moved to Des Moines. My brother said, hey, you said if you moved to Des Moines, you'd give this a shot. He was with Iowa State Muay Thai Club for a couple of years, and then he trained for, I think, 7 or 8 years. So, I mean, he never fought. He just really enjoyed the training aspect of it, and awesome corner man. And so I told him if I ever moved to Des Moines, I'd give it a shot, and I sure enough did. And I did not have that same killer instinct, that heart. So I kind of knew which side I would probably be a better fit for. But I had the same thing. I like to break things down almost like a chess match. So when I was sparring, when I was training, it was I didn't like to be hit. So what can I do to avoid that? So I was a counter puncher. That's kind of where my head was at. So I can completely relate to the therapeutic. You go in there and you leave training. No matter what you had going on that day, you're a totally different person. So you can have the worst day, but you're going to be tired. You're going to have red marks all over your face, and you're going to take body shots during that training and the sparring. But it's just a different experience. So for me, I got to be a part of the training side. I get to go to fights. I get to see people's true, because where I'm at now is a true passion of mine. And for you, the passion's probably being in there. So it's a good connection and correlation to being able to have the passion that I have to help these fighters out, so they don't have to have a full-time job. They don't have to have another part-time job. Worry about family. Worry about 18 other things, and then they're only giving an hour of their day to training. If you're going to be a world champion, it's going to take a lot more than that. So I want to give them the capacity to be able to do that comfortably, so they don't have to worry about all those other things.
I want to throw something out there because a few of you mentioned is connection. You mentioned connection with people, connection with your band, connection with fighters you want to represent because you don't represent everybody. How important are those connections or developing that connections? And is it something you know right away, or do those connections develop over time? Go ahead.
Yes. It's both. If you don't really, here's the thing, sometimes you have to develop the connection over time, especially as a fighter, because sometimes the coach doesn't see you in certain situations, but he believes you can get through certain situations. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes he'll put you through that fire. There's some fire, like when I dislocated my knee, that they just didn't realize I could go through it. But having like having that somebody believe that you can go through it just helps you believe that you can go through it. And so for me, having the connection instantly, but also developing more connection over time just makes you better the more you go through it. So that's just my opinion.
Anybody else?
I would agree with that. I think there's kind of two sides of it. I think, you know, there are a lot of times where you meet someone and you go, oh, this person is the real deal. Like, I mean, you really connect, and maybe it doesn't always work out. So there's a connection that happens initially, and there's a connection that's sustained over time. So I think that's probably the most important thing. I mean, I've had the other thing happen where you meet someone and you're kind of, I don't know, you know, is their heart there? I don't know. And then over time you're like, whoa, this is one of the most talented people, most intelligent people I've ever met. So I think over time, you know, you kind of get to know a lot more of the ins and out of the person, but really that first initial connection is going to be a big driving force in the amount of, you know, effort you put into something. So I think it's kind of a combination of both.
Ryan, for you, the connections may be different, but they're connections in and of itself, right?
Yeah, so my job is to love people, to deal with them every day, and I do, for the most part. But yeah, every day, like I said, I meet with all different groups of people from all different backgrounds, and there's always a different connection, but it's just that people connection that we all have. You know, we're always out here trying to make better for our families, for our lives, for the community, and people just do it in different ways, and they see how they get that in a different way. So to be able to listen to people's dreams and what they're doing and their passions is where I get my connection from, and trying to link in hobbies. It's nice to figure out that common ground. It's title boxing, right? It's West Des Moines, right by Leach Brothers. Yeah. Yep, I live right there. I drive by all the time, and I've always been curious about what's in there because I always see people in there. I'm like, can I do that? I need a workout, so
Maybe
I
you
like
need
to.
be invited.
Right, I need to talk to you afterwards because I'm really curious, and there's our connection right away. That we all have it. We just have to find it.
Jason, Joe, how important is it for a band to connect and to have, you know, a comfortability with each other?
Well, I think it depends on the band because there are situations, like for this band example, like we all chose to be in it together and we all work together to push the goals of the band as a whole. But there are times where I'll get called for a gig, it's just like a one-off. And maybe personally I might not be vibing with the other people in the band, but musically we have to pull it together because we have this job we have to do and we need to get through it. So, you know, you got to have the musical skills to be able to handle your business no matter what, no matter who's around, if somebody's had a bad day or whatever. But then, so those are kind of like one-off gigs or short-term gigs where this is a longer one where it's the personal relationships are more important to me, you know. And then kind of the opposite in my day job, my whole thing is kind of like what he's saying about meeting with business owners. Like when I talk to XYZ famous guitar player who's done 10 phoner interviews in a row and I'm just the next thing on his list or her list, how can I just like get them to loosen up? I mean, you know, this is an interview. It's like, how do you get them to break their script that they've been repeating about the same album for the next, you know, and ask them about, you know, did you have anything good to eat last night? Like, or something completely left of center that will, you know, will break them out of their shell. That's a skill that you need to learn. Those kind of connections are important.
We're taking a short break on the Marcus Mcintosh YouTube show. Gentlemen, stick around. We have a lot more coming. Joe, I'm going to start off with the Bamboozlers. Your new CD, The Other Side of the Island, is on CD Baby, Spotify, iTunes, and Bandcamp. Tell us about your latest effort.
All right. Well, we've been, like I mentioned, we've been kind of a cover band for a while, and even though we were playing cover tunes, we always, Joe and Chris, another guy in the band, always been kind of writing tunes away and kind of stashing them for a project, and we kind of said, all right, this is it. It's time for us to put an album out. So about a year ago, we kind of were in the midst of recording when it came out last July. And we had some guests on it. We had this really great guitar player from Nashville named Daniel Donato, who's, you know, he's in his early 20s and is absolutely like a wonder kid of a guitar player. He plays on a track. We had Jimmy Buffett's pedal steel player, Doyle Gresham, play on a bunch of tracks. We had a local saxophone player from Des Moines, Robert Espy, great musician, play on a couple tracks. My wife sang on one, so we kind of gave us an excuse to write a bunch of songs that we like, get a bunch of our friends together, and play some songs.
the other side of the island? Does it have any specific meaning? Does it?
Yeah, it does. So a lot of people who like music about going on vacation and whatnot, there's a kind of a longing to like just go and to escape, and you go to these escape places and these beautiful islands, and it's the beach, the water, and the waves, the whole thing. But we've learned after going to these places and playing gigs at these places that there's usually another side of the island. Like locals live there, and there are cool things that maybe don't get the spotlight, but there are great places to go, great people to meet, great places to just hide, hang out, and read a book. And so we wanted to celebrate that side of it too, as well as the big party fun beach side.
Marwan, VIP boxing, you're looking for people to get involved and invest. How do they do so, and why do they invest in VIP boxing?
Yeah, so the VIP boxing is not just getting hit. That's actually our Team Savage boxing. VIP boxing is for anyone. So we have soccer moms come there. We have
it's
therapists. It's pure fitness. It's boxing without actually having a box. With VIP boxing. And then we also have VIP strength and conditioning. I work with other fighters from other gyms and even MMA fighters who I do a specific type of strength and conditioning with them as well. So we're looking for anyone that's interested just for personal training. I am nationally accredited through NASM as a personal trainer. So anyone that wants to help us grow, you can find us at Instagram, Marwan the Trainer. You can VIP boxing right here, and then also we have I'm on Thumbtack as well, that kind of helps with the personal training, so that's how we're able to stay afloat and keep everything moving.
When people come in, do they realize how difficult it is to just hold your hands up for 3 minutes, let alone throwing punches and moving and ducking and all that?
Well, I really don't specialize too much with people just holding their hands up. Look, from the beginning, everything starts with the footwork, everything starts with movement, okay? So then when you get your hands up, it's a couple months when you really actually start putting your punches together and stuff like that. So first thing we do is we start with your footwork and making sure you're on balance. That's key. And then after they progress, then they actually see a couple months later, oh, it's a lot harder to actually fight and box than we thought, than what it actually looks like on TV. So when you're having them do a little bit of mitts with them, and they're like, wow, I'm exhausted in 30 minutes. I've had the #1 CrossFitter in Texas train in my dungeon, and they've all said, this is the real deal. This is tough. This is tough work. So
You're exhausted in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're exhausted. Not even 20 minutes. Not even 20 minutes.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's very quick, and also the program gets you in shape, and it's a boxing. It's a great de-stressor as well. Had a couple clients last year lose up to 100 pounds, and like I said, we're willing to train any and everyone through the fitness part, through the Team Savage with Norse and other Golden Go champions. What they do is, again, it's for competition, but if you just want to come and get in shape and have a fast, fun workout that's efficient, come VIP boxing. And we're all about getting the gloves, no street fighting. Get the gloves. You got a problem with someone, we can do charity boxing, then we can go ahead and then get the gloves.
All right, Brandon, Honeyman Promotions, relatively new. How do you sustain it? How do you get out there? And how do you get people involved?
It comes back to the whole connection point. You want to make those good connections, and for businesses, I come from the marketing side. I've been on the corporate marketing side. I've been on small business marketing. I've done it myself for years, and it's just one of those things where supporting local fighters or businesses like that is going to be a game changer. When I talk about these fighters having to have a full-time job, that's 8 to 10 hours a day that they're applying to a position just to be able to sustain a lifestyle, which means they can't go to the noon class. They can't go train, and maybe there's 2 guys that would be really good training partners that they don't get access to because they can't go there during that time. So, the sponsorship dollars, that goes towards you. A lot of people don't think about it. You got a fighter that's 180 pounds walking around fighting in 155 in 8 weeks. And you can cut those pounds fairly easily, but you're going to do it really in an unhealthy way, and you're going to end up hurting your body a lot more than helping it. So, that's why these fighters go through these, long training camps. They have specific training partners. You have to, like it's a chess match. You have to understand your opponent, what their strengths and weaknesses are, where you can exploit, what you can, find out about their style that you can go after, and then you train. But, they're trying to focus on how to attack a specific opponent while trying to make sure that their meal prepping is done correctly, that their fitness isn't over-exhausting their muscles, so they're not going to have training experiences where their shoulders are so tired they can't even move. So there's a lot that goes into it. They have to have the right gloves, they have to have the right training equipment, they have to have access to the gyms. Everything has an expense to it. So my job is to alleviate that, and for the businesses, I mean, I can't say there's a much better feeling than, you know, when you put your money into someone like a fighter and they go out and they perform and you get to see them live their passion, live their dream, and then when they bring home the W, you know, you as a business owner, you're a pivotal partner. You get to say, hey, you know what, I invested in them and I love what they're doing, and for the business it's a marketing expense. It's a taxable write-off. Every dollar that they, you know, invest into a fighter, I mean, there's 1,000 reasons to do it and very, very few not to.
And your website is honeymanpromotions.com if you want to learn more about that.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, Ryan, Brandon mentioned local. That's what the Urban Oak Chamber is all about, right? It's local.
Yes. So if you are a local business, if you work for even a large business and you're trying to, get out and network, try to meet other business owners, other people in the community through your business, we can help that. Professional development. So if you're a young professional or you have young professionals in that 21 to 40 range, we have our own young professional programming that you can get your people involved with. If you just want to sit down with me and get coffee, please reach out to the Urban Oak Chamber, and I'm happy to do that. I love sitting down meeting with people, learning about what you do, your business, and seeing if there's a way the Urban Oak Chamber can help. So any way that you're looking to get involved in the business community and try to get your marketing dollars in the right places, I'm your guy.
Randy, Jason, and Joe, I know you two have mentioned before we started recording that, you know, you have other things you do to supplement income and pay the bills, other full-time things you're doing. I'd like each of you to talk about that.
Sure, I'll start. I'm a freelance writer. I do a number of things. I produce podcasts for the Corridor Business Journal in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, and I'm in the process of writing a book about Grant Wood, the artist.
And like I mentioned, I'm a full-time music journalist with Premier Guitar Magazine out of Marion. There's like 3 big guitar magazines in the country. And one's in New York, one's in San Francisco, and one's in Marion, Iowa. And my days are spent between editing lessons, interviewing famous guitar players, reviewing new gear. So for a guitar nerd, it's kind of like just come and, I get to bring my guitar to work every day, and it sits in the corner of my office, and I can pick it up and play it when I need to. So it's really kind of hard to complain at sometimes. I get to play guitar all day long.
All right, Brandon. You?
So for me, I do the Honeyman Promotions. I do some small business consulting on the side. And then I actually have a home studio for music. I do kind of the EDM side. But, I've got my MIDI controller, my launch pad, everything. So I've got those, and then full time I'm a sales specialist over at RV1 in Altoona. So I sell everything from pop-up campers to $750,000 motorhomes. So.
All right, Lenores, what's your ultimate goal? You won Golden Gloves here locally. Is it national Golden Gloves? Is it professional fighter? What's your career path?
Yeah.
Where can we see you in 5 years?
All of that.
Okay.
All of that.
Next year he's going national Golden Gloves.
All of that. Like my passion is to be like have the whole journey of the boxer, whether it's amateur to pro, everything. But my end goal is I still want to have my wits about me at the end of the day. So I'm learning. I'm going through the process. I love how Coach Marwan takes me through. He doesn't just have me fighting just to fight. He waits, make sure I'm ready, and he goes. And he just the process of it all. I love the experience. I'm living my dream right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm still in shock that I won Golden Gloves. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
And you're an amateur, so how are you paying the bills? How are you making it?
Oh man, barely. I'm a boxing coach at Title Boxing. That's part-time, and then I personal train here and there. I got a diploma in personal training through Asheville College, and certified as that. And I've been, and it was weird because I got fired from my last training job at Planet Fitness, and so it was because it's an at-will state, they can just fire you for any reason. And then I got the privilege to work for Title, and then Manny walked through, and I got the privilege to work with this man, and everything just seemed to fall in my lap after that, and I'm just making sure hang on, and I keep my wits about me, and just take the process as it comes, whether it's negative, positive, and learn from it. And it's just all right now is about learning, and so that's how I'm gonna grow as a fighter.
Marwan, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna ask something too. Lenore's is also part of VIP Strength Conditioning, so we do mobile training. So if you guys want us to come out, we can come to your home or your business. We can do some work with you. National accredited, he has his diploma in physical fitness, so we can come out to your home or even a recreational center and show you guys basic boxing, strength conditioning, how to improve flexibility, and just general fitness. So feel free to go ahead and contact us about that as well.
I'm going to throw this next question out to everyone as well. Is it Iowa that makes what you do unique, or is it just being here? Or I guess a better question is, what keeps you in Iowa? Because, I mean, you know, fans maybe want to go to Nashville, New York, LA. Boxers may want to relocate somewhere else. You know, fighters might want to, you know, Las Vegas is kind of the hub of the UFC being there. What is it?
Well, for me, it was, since band isn't my full-time job, my job is in Iowa with the guitar magazine, and it's kind of, in order to kind of keep my mental wits about me, I needed to have some kind of creative outlet to do that, and thankfully I found a place to do that, and the music scene in Iowa is, you know, it's pretty, like when I was a kid growing up in Davenport, the blues scene was super happening, you know, and so all my friends were out playing, and me too, out playing gigs on the weekends from the time we were 16 on up, and it just seems to me that no matter where you're at, when it comes to music, you can find a scene to probably fit into. It might not be the, you know, like you said, if you want to really get into country music, you know, go to Nashville or Brooklyn or something, but anywhere you go, there's going to be a scene if you want to find it.
I think Iowa's a great place to live. You know, we get seasons, and kids have kids have great schools to go to. It's not far to go to a big city like Chicago or Twin Cities. It's I love it.
Yeah, so I'm one of the Iowans, young people that have left Des Moines and realize how great it is. So I lived in DC for a couple of years. Me and my girlfriend, now wife, we had an apartment. We paid $3,000 a month, one bedroom. Wow. So when we came back to Iowa, we're like, we're rich. I mean, we're not, but and we got to buy a home with a huge backyard for our dogs. That cost of living, and watching Des Moines grow and grow. I moved to DC, and I'm like, I'm going to get everything, and all my Des Moines friends are going to hate me, you know, NCAA tournaments. Then they came to Iowa. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to a Drake concert, so how does that feel? And then 2 months later, Drake's like, I'm coming to Des Moines. I'm like, what? So everything that DC kept hitting, Hamilton. I was like, oh, okay, this is only in DC. I watched Hamilton in Des Moines last year, so I was like, okay, Des Moines, yeah, it's where it's at. It's growing. You see all these cranes around. They're building West Des Moines. It's just expanding with restaurants coming in. So it is the most underrated city in the country, if not the world. And it's going to be competing with all those. As long as they keep the cost of living down, people are going to come here.
It's always been about Iowa. I was in Arizona doing training as well. Worked with a couple guys that were professional athletes out there in Arizona. And I saw how well I can do in another state that was large. I already knew I can do well here. I just wanted to go somewhere that was bigger and see how I would stack up. And as soon as I saw everyone else was progressing, I figured I might as well move back to my home state and make it great, just how Terrence Crawford did for Omaha, Nebraska, and how Warren Buffett is still in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm going to be like those guys, you know, Jay Princes and everyone, and you know, Iowa, be responsible for putting Iowa boxing on the map with world champions, and we're going to go from there. We're going to take time.
For me, I'm originally from a big city, so like for me, it's like it's genuine people who care about you and your dreams. And, like I have people like at home. Like, if you're a good athlete, somebody's gonna put you on, whatever. But like, eventually they fall off because it's just another athlete out there. But here, like, I'm gonna talk about Pat for a quick second. Pat, he great guy. Dude saved my life, man. Like, that's my roommate and assistant coach. Like, before I met Marwan, he was target practice. Like, he helped me with footwork. He helped hold pads. He let me hit him. And this dude is a minister, an artist, opera singer. Like, I met him in college. Dude, I met him through Iowa, though. Like, Ramona, Iowa. I don't know if any of you know where that is. It's like 2,000. Yeah, I went to Grayson. It's 2,000 people, like, all together with students there. And I met this genuine, kind-hearted person. And he still has my back, like, to this day. Like, I was sick going into, like, the first fight. I was even sicker going into the second fight. His mom saved my life with essential oils. I didn't know about essential oils. Like, yeah, like, I didn't even know about essential oils until I met really Pat. And I was just like, this stuff's amazing. Like, I was the best smelling fighter there, period.
He was.
I mean, that's a low bar, right?
I don't know, man. Like, but I was pretty good. And it's just like, it's genuine people. Like, you tell somebody about, like, connections you meet here, I don't think you can make anywhere else. Like, as much as I've been around, like, I've been around big cities, I don't think, like, you can make some connections anywhere you go, but, like, it's genuine, dude. Like,
Brandon?
You know, I think for me, I mean, this is where I grew up. I'm from Muscatine, Iowa. I've lived through internships and everything. I've lived in every quadrant of the state. I've lived in Carroll, Dubuque, Clear Lake, Des Moines, Muscatine, you know, Cedar Falls. So I've gotten a unique experience. But for me, it does come down to the you know, it's so genuine here. You know, when you, as a Midwesterner, when you travel to coastal bigger cities and stuff, what's one of the first things you realize? People aren't going to wave back at you when you wave. They're going to be like, why is this dude waving at me? Like, relax. Yeah, where here, you know, when I was living in Carroll working in agriculture, you know, you drive a line. You might not know the person, but, you know, I'm known for the whole 2-finger off the steering wheel. Oh, yeah. That was my thing. And everybody wave. I mean, it's a very genuine, nice place, but it's also conducive for small businesses. You know, it's when I was at the University of Northern Iowa, they have a great incubator there. Without that incubator, I would have never been able to start my first business. You know, it's just it's a great culture, and I live by a family first mentality, and I associate Iowa with family. You know, this is where we grew up. You know, this is where I dug my roots. So, you know, even in the fight game, you'll see a lot of fighters that, you know, they might train at a gym in Las Vegas. They might train in San Diego, you know, but they don't live there always. You know, a lot of times they'll go there for a training camp and they come back because this is really where, you know, where it's all about, where your roots are settled.
Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, Jeremy Stevens.
He comes back a lot.
So I got
Johnny Hollywood Case.
I got into MMA under Josh Neer as my coach. So I got to meet and train with Jeremy. So that's kind of my upbringing into the sport. Was, you know, Josh Neer. I got to meet Nate Diaz. You know, just a lot of incredible experience. I mean, he's, you know, Stockton, California, but, you know, all my time under Josh Neer, I knew that I could fly out to Stockton and train with Nate Diaz if I really wanted to. You have that built support system.
And just to piggyback off that, with the Josh Neer, myself, Josh Neer, and Robert Tosin, we started an apparel company together. It's called God Hands Apparel. We're going to introduce it sometime in the future here. So we're looking for a couple of big fighters like Jeremy Stevens, Tree James, Manuel Valadez, and Norris to go ahead and sponsor and put these fighters with the apparel line on them.
What's next for everybody? If there is a next. What's next for me is keep doing this and keep working at KCCI. I guess I have bills to pay, so that's what's next for me.
Well, we got a gig here next week.
That's right.
It's Friday.
Friday the 12th.
And we have a festival down in Florida. We have a bunch of gigs around Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area. We're doing some gigs in Okoboji this summer. So if you head to our bamboozlers.com is our website, you can go and see where we're playing and hear our new album and see what else is going on for us.
And that's the other side of the island on CD Baby, Spotify, iTunes, and
anywhere you can find recorded audio, probably.
Yeah, summer's our go time.
Yeah.
We kind of dial it back in the winter, but in the summer we love to play outdoor festivals. So we're getting geared up for a good tour. It should be fun.
Ryan?
Just new ideas. We're always coming up with new ideas at Urban Hill Chamber. We've hosted this podcast a few times at our chamber office. We're always trying to expand and think of ways to get people involved in unique ways. So we come up with networking games all the time that are structured for people so it's not uncomfortable when you walk into events, and trying to bring big speakers in. We're bringing in Damon John from Shark Tank this year for his Central Business Conference. That's in September. So if you want to listen to his great ideas, yep, Fubu.
All right.
Out of his garage, so out of a dungeon. Look at him now.
Yeah.
So it has to start somewhere, and who says it can't be you? So that's our whole idea.
Marwan?
open up my own shop here in the near future, hopefully within a couple months. And then also maximizing the talent I do have right now to do the mobile training and a couple of different fitness at parks, so we can really do a health movement as well, especially to the lower income areas that don't get enough shine to them as well. And hopefully we can integrate with the healthier eating approach so we all can win and make it Iowa the #1 top state for everyone.
Norris Wilson, what's next for you?
Nationals.
Get that knee healed first?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, one step at a time. I should actually, work on recovery, which is important. But I'm biting at the chomp. I've never taken this long off in like the last 3 years. And yeah, he's right. Like, but I'm chomping at the bit to get back at it because it's just like, I don't know, I want more.
Again, congratulations on your golden gloves.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, Brandon Honeyman, what's next for you?
You know, for me, I got a lot of irons in the fire. You know, one thing, it's not a job, but I'm also the vice president for a nonprofit that, you know, we focus on impoverished countries and getting them the education and resources they need. So for me, I think my biggest joy in life is being able to give back. So, you know, all these different things I'm involved in are all kind of an umbrella to being able to have the financial and just from a standpoint of time, being able to give back. You know, so for me, that's really the hope for me is, you know, all these things kind of fall into line the right way, and then what I can do is I can give my time, my resources, my connections to my fighters, or, you know, to those impoverished countries to be able to build a school, build a library, get them technology. So for me, it's, you know, that's my biggest joy and my hope is I can, you know, actively, continually give back.
Gentlemen, thank you all for coming in. We appreciate it. Also want to thank Smash Park for allowing us the venue to have this conversation. This is the Marcus Mcintosh YouTube show. Thanks for tuning in.